Hi, I'm MarzGurl.
And I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
And welcome to episode 68 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 2, Episode 17 of City Hunter, titled An Aspiring Traditional Japanese Woman, Mokkori Transcends National Borders, Part 1.
Do we have another fake land?
Oh, we sure do. It took us about half the episode to recognize this is a fake land episode.
Cool. Hey, were we going to talk about something else before we started jumping in?
No, we got lucky this week.
I mean, there's no real news. I did tell you just the other day, I finished reading through all of the English retranslation of the manga that has been released on Manga Hot so far.
Yes, you did tell me that.
It's like 54 chapters, which is like a little over a quarter of all of the City Hunter chapters that exist.
And it's all available for free, right?
Yes, it's all available for free. So you can either read that on the mobile app, or there's also a web browser version, and it's kind of difficult to get through, but there are some English guides that have been made. The translator, David Evelyn, has made his own guides. If you find him on Twitter, he's got a thread about that as well. But I just kind of thought I would say, hey, I caught up, and man, it just reminds me, yes, this anime is so nerfed.
Well, you did show me something from the manga that hasn't shown up in the anime, I don't think it ever does, which is basically, if I want to make it as concise as possible, Ryo kind of sort of sticking his dick in a light socket.
It's not quite that. This is, okay, if we go back to the episode, the anime episode that these manga chapters covered, was the episode where he had to protect this young idol girl.
Oh, you mean, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, so he had to protect her, and in the process, he, tries to jump in bed with some other lady, but the lady's not there, and instead, in its place, is a sex doll that's hooked up to a light socket, so it electrocutes his dick, and then later on, his dick is still burned, okay?
So, alright, so we're kind of, you're burying the lead here. Ryo burned his penis.
He burns his penis on an electrified sex doll.
Okay, just making sure I got that right.
And, he's still injured the next day, which, by the way, he has to, stick his ass, testicles, and penis in, a big tub of water trying to recover them. And yet he still pops a boner for some other lady that he sees. Mind you, his dick is still burned, and so it still hurts. And so David came up with just the greatest line that Ryo could possibly scream at that moment, which was, "Oh my junk, what the funk."
That is amazing writing, and I told him so over on Twitter.
And I just need you to know, obviously, we talked about that episode. None of that happened.
No, we never got any of that. We got dude in the crowd, and Ryo assaulting a woman who didn't seem to notice at the concert, but there was no, "Oh my junk, what the funk."
No, so just to tell you, if that gives you any indication of just how nerfed the anime is by comparison to how crass, and sometimes, that's not even talking about the violence that makes it into the manga. It's way different.
It's way hornier.
It's way hornier, and people's brains get blown out sometimes. It's really, oh my god.
Yeah, so if you think this show's too light for you, go try the manga out.
Yeah, try out the manga, which, again, only about a quarter of it is done, but it is legal, and I think it is now surpassed what had originally been printed when we first tried to print it in English.
Because there was only, 4 or 5 volumes
They could only reach 5 volumes. They planned volume 6, and then 6 never came out.
And then it was just stuck in
just gone, yeah.
Manga development adaptation hell.
Just gone forever. Until now. So, great. A quarter of it has been retranslated. That's awesome. I hope that more comes very soon. Because now I'm stuck. What do I do now? Go to Scanlations? No.
You're just gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait in line like everybody else who's reading Chainsaw Man and My Hero Academia.
I guess.
But enough terrible talk about testicle torture. Let's go ahead and get on with today's episode.
You really decided to go for the alliteration, huh?
I sure did.
Okay, cool.
So today's episode, it's a multi-parter like we said last week. It's a lot of international intrigue, not necessarily espionage, but there's some attempted assassinations, some terrorist activity, and some of it is actually very timely considering things that were in the media around the time. There was a couple of things that were going on in the media, and something that we've noticed here about watching episodes of City Hunter is that the writers and the animators seem to really like watching movies from other countries, namely from America. A lot of them horror movies or sci-fi or action movies, and I'm wondering if the beginning of this wasn't based off or an homage to this movie that came out in the mid-80s called The Delta Force, starring Chuck Norris, which mainly is about the hijacking of a plane, which itself itself was based off hijackings that happened there in the mid-80s.
I mean, this episode starts off with a plane jacking, so maybe it's just based more on reality than it is Chuck Norris. I don't know.
It could have gone either way. There were at least 2 Delta Force movies that I watched.
There were 2 Delta Force movies?
Yeah, the Delta Force and the Delta Force 2. 2 was not as good as the first one.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
And mind you, the first one can be kind of hard to swallow in some places, but if you just write it up to cheesy 80s action movie, then you can get through it pretty easy.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for that too. But surely none of these hijackings took place on Sunrise Airlines.
No, that did not happen. Most of these are TWA flights. But here, at the beginning of our episode here in City Hunter, yes, you're right. It's always got to be on Sunrise Air because that is the only plane that flies in and out of Haneda.
Apparently, yeah. Well, no, one time? Okay, so in the manga, you remember I pointed out once, the airline was JAL, which is a real airline.
Yes, you did.
But that's the manga. The anime? Nah, JAL doesn't exist. Sunrise, all day, every day, all the time.
You are now free to move around Nippon.
That's where they're trying to get to right now. They're flying in there. I don't recall planes really flying that low and close to Mount Fuji. I've never seen that. But alright, then again, I also usually fly in from the opposite direction, so I wouldn't ever see Mount Fuji when I'm flying in. I don't know.
And we're led to believe that this flight here at the beginning of the episode, which yes, is flying pretty close to Mount Fuji, is coming from somewhere else in the world, from another country, which we'll get to later, but it's not any country that is easily found on any map.
Well, they certainly don't tell us where on the map it is.
No.
So I have no idea where it is.
But Kaylin, when do they ever?
No, they've told us sometimes. Sometimes they're like, the Middle East. In the stage show, they're like, Africa? Really?
Africa's a big place. Can you be more specific, please?
Do you know where in Africa? Around this big part right here. The big part? You mean the continent? Okay.
Okay, City Hunter, for $20, show me where this country is on a globe.
Where Guatemala is. Where is that?
Have we been to Guatemala here in the show?
No, Guatemala's in the stage show, the Takarazuka show.
We'll add that to the MokkoriPlay walking tour map. But you can tell this is an expensive flight. Like, these people all look like they're in first class. They've got real big windows to see all of Mount Fuji's glory.
It looks like a really big, really nice plane. It has so much space for the aisles, for the seats. There's so much space on this plane. Sunrise Air is nice, man.
Well, yeah, if you get first class seats, you can go up and ask the pilot, hey, can you turn so we can see Mount Fuji closer? Well, sure. And that's what's happening now. And as they're getting past Mount Fuji and the stewardess is making the announcement, at that very moment, we notice 2 hijackers try to take the plane.
And they basically do.
Yeah, one of them's got a gun, the other one's got a grenade, and in midair, you don't want either of those things to go off. So yeah, they've got a hostage situation, and we need a crack team to take care of this, or failing that, Psycho having listened in on this having happened.
I mean, they still land the plane at Narita. They still land it there, which I guess is fine, because what they want is for the plane to be refueled and for them to get a bunch of money and then just go on about their business. So I guess it's fine that it got to their destination.
Which is usually how that works in any hijacking movie. The Delta Force included.
It's okay, I don't watch a lot of hijacking films, so I don't know what a hijacker wants or why they would want.
You never saw, Air Force One?
Okay, so I saw Air Force One. Alright,
okay,
fine.
That's a step in the right direction. In any case, across town, back at Ryo's apartment, I guess for whatever reason, Kaori and Ryo are in his room right now because they don't have a TV in the living room. They have a TV in Ryo's room.
I mean, he can have a TV in there if he wants, but I guess they both want to watch TV. Oh my god, they were watching a performance of the opening theme of this season's...
Yes, they sure were.
This season's opening theme?
So we compared it to some live footage that we saw of that band Size performing the song, and we're pretty sure that's not them here animated.
No, this just looks like a totally different lady singer with long brown hair. I'm looking at the live performance of them performing it. They just don't look like that, but I guess that's fine. But it is really funny that they're listening to, hey, this is the opening theme to City Hunter 2. That's pretty cool. I mean, they don't...
Kiss. And right on the kiss, Ryo goes ahead and tries to kiss the screen.
I mean, they don't say, this is the opening theme theme to City Hunter
No, they
2.
didn't. They
like
didn't.
they did that one time.
For Go Heaven.
The theme song to City Hunter, Go Heaven. Oh, really? I guess City Hunter really only has one theme song in the universe, and it's Go Heaven.
Like, they like this song. There's apparently in-world a music video for the song, so Ryo is aware of it, but it's not his song.
Anyway, he's very excited about this song and about the singer, and he thinks she's cute, and he goes in to kiss the screen, but that's when Kaori, changes the channel, or actually not even that, it's just an emergency broadcast kind of.
No, Kaori changed the channel.
Did she change the channel? Okay, whatever. But it's the news. Regardless, it's some guy with a beard and he's telling the news, and Ryo's very unhappy about that because he has gay panic, and that's not very super cool. Thankfully, we don't stick on that for very long.
Yeah, we gotta tell everybody about this hostage situation. And so they notice as the camera's panning across the airport and the reporter's telling the story, clearly you can see Sayako's silhouette there in the background, and Ryo makes that out very quickly.
It's not even the background. She's the foreground shot. What did Sayako do? She's like, oh, I see this news crew. I need to get right in front. Hey, I'm a police officer. Film me. Standing here, looking at the airport, while I lift my thigh to the camera to reveal the letters XYZ. Is nobody else gonna think this is weird? This is kind of weird, right? Everybody should be paying attention to this right now. I mean, thank God Ryo is, because that's the cue to go out there.
Well, yeah, because Kaori's like, wait a minute, is that Sayako? It is Sayako. And Ryo's like, of course, I'd recognize that shape anywhere. And yeah, like you said, she lifts up her skirt, and she's got it written there. Did she have, lipstick or something to write it on her thigh?
You would have to imagine that's how that went, I guess.
And then, close up on Kaori, who happens to be wearing a shirt with her name on it.
It says Kaori.
In English.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, XYZ, is she trying to offer us a job right now? And before she can finish that sentence, the doors swung wide open and just...
Ryo is gone?
His ass was out the door.
Anyway, he goes to the airport. Sayako's like, hey, need your help. There's been this hijacking. They've already released all the men on the plane. They're only keeping the women on the plane, and they want a bunch of money, and they want
$1 million.
They want
or 1 million yen.
Million yen, which is not a lot of money because it's yen, and they want gas for the plane.
Because they want to get the hell out of here with their money.
And Ryo's like, I understand. I would want a harem full of women on a plane too. But why would I do this job? You owe me a bajillion Mokkori times.
And he has the CVS length receipt to prove that she has not paid up on any of this.
And she's like, no, I have not paid up, but you'll be a hero to a whole bunch of women. So she still has no plans on paying up. I can't believe Ryo, legitimately fell for this again. She didn't actually offer him anything of value. She's just like, oh, you're gonna be a hero to these women, except the job that he does,
is in secret.
He's never seen by any of these women, so why did he fall for this?
See, this is why, I forget, was it Mr. Mumble, where in that backstory, Ryo is part of the police force as a sniper?
He's part of the police. I don't remember if he was a sniper or not.
See, that one, it would make more sense that in that story, in that version of the story, Ryo having some sort of relationship with the cops makes sense as to why they would call him in all the time, because they knew in that movie that he had skill. Whereas here, it's like, she's just Sayako's little dirty secret she keeps in her back pocket. Oh, I can't do the police work, gotta call Ryo. But unfortunately, because Ryo thinks with his Mokkori mind, he actually falls for this line of thinking, and he's like, alright, if this will make me a hero to women that I can eventually bone, then fine, I'll do it.
So, Sayako has a plan to take the money up to the plane, and as she's walking up to the plane, she's wearing a trench coat and not a lot else.
She gets up to the plane, and one of the two hijackers meets her there, like, alright, you got the ransom money? Yeah, I got it right here. Alright, well, I gotta check you for weapons. Open up your coat. She's like, alright, fine. And she's gone on her best Victoria's Secret.
It's nice underwear.
Yeah, she's got this teal set going on, really accentuating everything. And so she gets on the plane and confirms, okay, everybody looks pretty safe, but there's one passenger in particular that catches her eye that she seemed to be looking for. And she's like, okay, I see her. Now I need to go ahead and tell everybody back at the control tower that everybody's safe. And if you'll let me use your radio, I'll go ahead and tell them to go ahead and refill your plane and you guys can get out of here.
And they fall for that. And Sayako goes up and she takes the headset from the pilots.
They're in the cockpit.
And she's kind kind of taking her time because she's trying to set up a shot for Ryo to do some sniping from way off at the control tower.
Yeah, Ryo's at the top of the control tower outside with a sniper rifle, and I couldn't tell you how far away he was. He's more than 500 yards, more than that.
Easily. I'm sure it's more than, way more than that, and I don't really know yard measurement. And also, this is a cartoon, so it's very hard to tell.
It's a difficult shot, to say the least.
Not for Ryo.
And so Ryo's, biding his time, waiting for the right shot, and Saiko's like, in her head, come on, take the shot, take the shot.
But she's like not calling to anybody, which of course is very suspicious. But thankfully, just as a guy starts to try to assault her to be like, hey, are you gonna do this thing or not? That's when Ryo is like, great, that's it. I needed him to get in here so that I could shoot him in the shoulder. So he takes a shot, fires through the windshield of this plane. Do we call it a windshield when it's on a plane? Okay, I didn't know if that was like different, but fine.
I'm sure a pilot will correct us.
Straight through the glass and into the shoulder of one of the hijackers, but there's still more hijackers.
Yeah, there's still the one other hijacker, and he's the one with the grenade. And he's like, all right, I knew you guys were gonna screw with us. I'm blowing us all to hell. And so the best thing to do to stop that guy, Ryo figures, is to create some kind of a distraction.
That distraction being shoot through the glass again and bust the bra off of Saiko's shoulder.
Cut the strap on her shoulder to where, I don't know how this works or how thin that Victoria's Secret is, where if you cut one shoulder strap, the whole thing falls?
I don't know.
But her titties are out.
And that guy was distracted, and then Saiko could kick him in the face and kick him straight to sleep. So great. The day is saved, but now her titties just be hanging out. And it's so weird that, the pilots of this plane have decided, well, this is an interesting development. You guys were just getting hijacked. Guns and grenades were trained on you. And now you're like, titties.
Specifically 2 frames of nipple.
Yeah, they animated uncensored nipples for 2 frames.
But it's real quick. I'm surprised you caught it, but at this point I shouldn't be surprised because you catch so much on this show.
Yeah, you can just see, it's not that I saw it, it's that my brain knew I saw something and I don't know what I saw because it went by so fast. I'm gonna need you to rewind that for me to double check. Usually that's what it is. And I think that's also what they're counting on when they're broadcasting it. They're like, we snuck in 2 frames of bare-ass nipples, and nobody's ever gonna know, they're never gonna see it, and we're just gonna put it on television.
Well, thank you for your work, Sunrise. I caught the nipple.
The both nipples.
All 2 of them.
All 2 of them for all 2 frames. Before Saiko reaches up and
covers herself
and screams because these men are staring at her boobs because Ryo shot her bra off of her shoulders.
And see, that's the thing too, Ryo knows what he did, and from the angle he shot from, I don't know whether or not he could see anything after the fact, because she was facing away from him.
But then she turned around to face those pilots, and at that point, Ryo might have been able to see it.
Oh, no, you're right. Then at that point, yeah, he would have gotten something. He would have gotten a view.
I wonder if that counted as taking off one of the IOUs. Well, at least I got to see some titty. Yeah.
I mean, it might. I imagine she would argue that, especially since that was against her will.
Yeah, I think that would be generous of him.
Or her, or both of them, who knows?
He should do that. He should at least say, alright, at least one of these is knocked off.
Alright, I'll agree with you on that. But now that the hostage situation is over, Sayako makes her way over to the one passenger she was trying to keep an eye on and greets her, and we find out this is our, client for the week. Her name is Misa Williams.
That's a very, at least half white sounding name, if you ask me.
Well, she's only half Japanese, we find out later in the episode.
I mean, the name Misa sounds Japanese, so yeah.
I mean, I imagine you could get away with being white and named Misa.
It's possible. But Misa is also a Japanese name, so...
Yes. And so Sayako greets her, oh, so you're Miss Williams, good to meet you. I had word sent to me from General Gemetil from your home country of Pamela.
Pamela!
Not Panama, Pamela, like Anderson.
Maybe.
Who showed up in the French movie.
Maybe they mean for it to be Pamela?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what they meant.
I don't know either. They just thought, this sounds foreign, which I guess it is. Pamela's not a Japanese name.
It's also not a French name either. That's why they named her a different name in the French movie.
That's true.
Pamela Anderson's in the French movie, guys. I don't know if we said that.
You did just a few minutes ago.
Okay, well,
Less
I said
than
it
a minute
again.
ago. All right, great.
And so at the mention of this guy's name, General Gemetil, Misa just locks up.
Like, oh no, not that guy. So you can tell, even though Sayako is there on this guy's orders.
And also on police business.
To protect her.
Right.
She's not really a princess, right?
No, she's just the daughter of a head of state.
This person who's very important to the heads of state is very concerned about a guy whose name you said, whose name is very stupid, and I don't want to have to repeat that name.
Jimetal. You can call him Jimmy.
Sure.
General Jimmy.
General Jimmy, which, don't forget, that's not really his name. I'm saying it because his name is stupid, alright?
And that's fine.
You just get this sense from her reaction. He's not a guy that she wants to have anything to do with.
Right.
Saiko's just trying to do her job. She thinks she's doing the right thing.
Right, because as far as she's aware, everything's on the level. She got a request from an official person in the military from the country of Pamela, so she's got to abide by that, right? She doesn't want anybody getting hurt. And so Sayako, knowing Ryo's a little pissed off because she, again, did not make good on paying him in any way, shape, or form. He's not anywhere near any of the women he just saved. She's trying to get the hell out of the airport without being seen by Ryo.
Unfortunately, Sayako gets called away for a phone call from, like, the front desk at Narita International.
Sayako to the white phone. Sayako to the white phone.
Click. No. The white phone. Oh. Yeah, Ryo set that up,
yes,
right?
he did.
He set that up to create space and leave Misa by herself, just kind of standing on the sidewalk, the taxi ramp.
Yeah.
So that Ryo can just pull up and be like, sweet, I got her. And Sayako said that she needed me to take you around, so here I am. Meanwhile, at the same time, there's two wholly different dudes. They're not the hijackers.
No, they're two completely different dudes who are also, we find out, from the country of Pamela, and for whatever reason, they get named. The shorter guy is named Lapart, and the taller guy's named Mamora.
Okay, sure. They're dudes in trench coats and hats, and were they wearing glasses?
One of them was.
One of them was wearing glasses. Okay.
And these dudes just look shady. They are not trying to hide themselves at all, and you can just look at these guys and be like, they're up to something.
And they're like, oh no, this guy just took off with her. Was he supposed to do that? I don't think so.
Was somebody else on this mission?
No, it was pretty much just us. And meanwhile, Saiko's up at the desk, and Ryo left her, like, a note that said, haha, I took my prize, and I'm gone.
Mind you, he signed and dated the note.
It's July 23rd, 1988. Hey, was that the air date of the episode?
We can check.
Okay, the air date of this episode was July 29th, 1988. So this happened like the week before it went to air.
Okay, so they filmed it, and then a week later they told us about it.
Yeah, that's
sure.
what happened
Okay.
in
I
a
buy
cartoon.
That.
Sure.
So they're there in Ryo's car, and Ryo's like, yeah, Sayako told me to help out. I'm her friend Ryo. Nice to meet you. And Misa's asking, well, how come she didn't come? And Ryo gives the worst BS excuse. Oh, she had broken bone appendicitis.
What is that, Ryo?
She broke the bones in her appendix, and she needed an operation now.
The appendix in her bones has appendicitis.
Both. It was both, actually.
It's both.
She broke the bones in her appendix, and the appendix in her bones needed an operation. And it hurt real bad, and she's like, aw shit, I gotta go to the hospital. Ryo, you're such a nice guy. Please go take care of Misa for me, you nice, trustworthy man.
Anyway, he's driving down the street with Misa, and he's having to bullshit a whole bunch of stuff along the way, but you know what? He's actually doing an okay job, and she actually doesn't really mind being there with him. Meanwhile, the two weirdos in the trench coats are driving their own car directly behind him, and they're about to shoot out the Mini Cooper, and I'm like, oh man, he's gonna need to go buy another Mini Cooper, but actually I spoke too soon, because they don't end up shooting him, because then Sayako comes up in her
pulling
own
up with
car.
her Porsche.
Yeah, she drives that Porsche a lot.
That red Porsche. She doesn't even know these guys, alright? And she just pulls up alongside him like road rage, like, get the hell out of my way.
And they stop what they're doing because they're like, holy shit, who was this woman? They're just kind of spooked by this woman in this Porsche, and she drives up alongside Ryo, and thankfully their steering wheels are on opposite ends of the car because she has a foreign car, and so they can lean out the window at each other and speak directly at each other face to face.
Yeah.
That's very fortunate.
Exactly. So Saiko's just like, pull over! Misa's under my care!
But Misa's over here like, yeah, but I don't want to be. Ryo, let's get out of here. And Ryo's just like,
Ain't got to tell me twice.
I mean, the lady says she wants to be with me. By the way, you're about to hit that exit ramp.
Yeah. And Saiko's just like, son of a bitch. And so Ryo makes his getaway, but it's not like Sayako couldn't track him down. Like, I'm wondering why it took her so long to find him this whole episode. I mean, I get it's a contrivance for the episode, but it's not like she doesn't know him, right?
That's true.
And I love that the last thing Ryo tells her as, she's having to pull off the exit ramp because she wasn't paying attention to the road is, don't worry about me, Mokkori knows no boundaries. Boners are worldwide.
Like, no borders, yeah.
Boners without borders is what he's saying today.
Which I think we've said before in the past.
And this episode, it's basically in the title.
Boners with no borders, yeah.
Boners beyond borders. Try saying that 5 times fast.
No, I'm alright.
Okay. But yes, Misa seems to just automatically trust Ryo because she can tell Ryo and Sayako are not on the same page.
Right.
And so I'll give Sayako this much. She goes back to the apartment, which Ryo did not immediately go back to.
Which is smart because Kaori is back there. And so Sayako and Kaori are talking.
And Saiko's getting her all filled in on everything that just happened. Oh yeah, Misa is the daughter of the Home Secretary of the Republic of Pamela, so she's a really important bargaining chip to the people that don't want a revolution to happen in that country. So that guy, that colonel, he doesn't like that.
What part does he not like?
He doesn't want revolution.
He wants to maintain some sort of a stronghold over this country.
Because it's kind of like a puppet regime, they make it sound like. And so the general is actually the one in charge. And so if Misa's father, who's the secretary, home secretary in that country, can actually get this revolution off the ground, dude loses power.
Right.
But the only thing Sayako is worried about right now is all of this going on with Ryo and Misa causing some sort of international incident. And so she implores Kaori, is there anything you can do to help?
Oh, Kaori knows exactly what to do. And she's like, I'm on a mission to how did she phrase this?
I'm going to seal away his Mokkori.
That's very Japanese poetic way of saying, I'm going to put an end to this.
I'm a cockblock him, is what she's saying.
So meanwhile, at the same time, Ryo has taken Misa to, it's not really, we don't know where. Somewhere,
we don't know, some really tall building.
Somewhere tall. Maybe it's Tokyo Tower, maybe
it's not though.
Maybe it's the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building.
It could be the government building.
Those are in Shinjuku, so that's likely, I think.
I mean, just the amount that they were off the ground, you would think it was something like the Sky Tree, but that wouldn't exist for a real long time.
No, the Metropolitan Government buildings are pretty tall, and anybody can go up there.
Yeah, they do have observation decks,
They have
right?
observation decks.
Okay, so let's just say it was there.
Probably there. That's just a big guess, but I think it's a well-educated one.
Yeah, an educated guess. So they're up there, and Misa is awestruck with this view of the urban city, and she's telling Ryo, this doesn't line up at all with my idea of Japan.
And Ryo's like, but I thought you were half Japanese. Yeah, but my mom died when I was like 5. I would love to know more about Japan. I would love to become just like the traditional Japanese woman. And Ryo's just like, haha, I can take a lot of advantage of this, like a manipulator would do. Weirdo fucking manipulator, man. He's like, I'm gonna teach you exactly how to be this very nice, traditional, idealistic Japanese woman. Oh yes, please do that for me. That's exactly what I want to do.
Because all I know about Japan is that it's supposed to be full of samurai and made of clay.
And also paper. That, like, these animators really love to throw in that, yes, this legitimately is all that Westerners think Japan is like. By the way, I mean, they're not wrong. Westerners are fucking idiots, okay? They only know, like, 2 things about a foreign country, and then their education about that country stops right there.
Old clips from G4 and Tech TV coming up on Twitter confirm that this week.
They sure do. I'm specifically remembering a clip from Pee-wee's Playhouse, and he gets this quote-unquote fan letter, it's totally fake, from some kid in Japan who says something along the lines of, "Hi Pee-wee, I love your show. I just want to tell you about what it's like where I live. I live in Japan. I eat rice and fish, and my house is made of paper." And I'm just... holy shit, man. Okay. Yeah, this is all that foreigners seem to think Japan is.
But no, specifically, Misa brings up the concept of becoming and this is the phrase she uses, which is very popular over there, Yamato Nadeshiko, which, when you actually take it all together, it's the personification of the idealized Japanese woman. And that has a whole bunch of other stuff that comes along with it, about how they're supposed to be very genteel, very graceful, very respectful.
It's very conservative. It's such a conservative conservative idea, yeah.
Some of it goes a little bit into misogyny.
Yes, for sure.
And so Ryo, yeah, like you're saying, he's kind of taking advantage of that, like, oh, this is perfect. I can totally work this to my advantage. So he tells her, yeah, let me take you under my wing. I'll teach you everything about that, and I'm gonna get my mokkori. And she's like, what's that?
What is a mokkori? Because he has said the word mokkori out loud. Well, first of all, he's asked her to jump into his arms, which she just does because she's like, oh, I'm supposed to do this because he's just told her to do it.
Also, she's thankful.
This poor impressionable woman. No, it's specifically because, well, the first thing you do is you hug the person that you're grateful for. She's doing it because she was told to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he says the word boner, swing, out loud. Okay.
Reminder, folks, mokkori means the sound effect for a boner.
And she's just like, I don't know what that word is because, you know, lots of people over the course of this series actually don't know what it is, including native Japanese speakers, because he's just made up a word for a sound effect for getting a boner.
For himself.
Which I understand at this point in time has permeated the culture because of City Hunter. Okay? So now people know what the word mokkori is, but only because of City Hunter. Alright? So normal ass people don't know what this word means in the universe of City Hunter.
And all of these normal-ass people up on this observation deck don't know what that word means either. So Ryo lies to her and tells her, oh, mokkori just means do your best. That's what it means. That's what we're gonna do.
That is the stupidest thing you could have told a person, because now she's gonna use it incorrectly and badly. Like, what is the name of that one Adam Sandler movie?
Oh, Grown Ups.
Grown Ups. And he
talks about getting wasted.
And then it becomes getting chocolate wasted, and then these kids start yelling about getting chocolate wasted, and
that's literally what happens here.
They don't know what it means, and now they're repeating it back.
So she's out here on this observation deck like, yeah, I want a mokkori. How soon can we mokkori? Can we go mokkori right now?
And of course, Ryo is very embarrassed because somebody might know what it means, and so he has to get them the hell out of there.
And so this whole crowd, as they're watching them leave in a hurry, just all in unison are like, mokkori? But mind you, we notice here, again, there's a kid who says it along with this whole crowd who's wearing a baseball cap. And I'm surprised I caught this.
Well, because from where I was sitting, what it looked like on his hat was the symbol for, like, Shinto shrines, which unfortunately kind of looks like a backward swastika.
But I was like, no, that's not what it is.
But it's not what it was. So that was what my stupid ass thought.
I'm like, look again, what is it?
It's the letters Y and S, which could only be E's, which is a video game series that this is not the first time they have referenced it.
This is like the third or fourth time they've referenced it.
Well, they put it on the side of a boat.
Right.
And then they used that same shot of that same boat.
Right, so this is like the third time. The third episode we've seen this.
They only drew it twice, but it has shown up three times.
The third time it's shown up. So they must really, really like that game series, which I myself have never played.
Japanese role-playing game. So that should be a thing we take a look at some point, because clearly the animators liked it.
Suryo's like, okay, you want to learn how to be a Yamato Nadeshiko? You want to learn how to be a traditional Japanese woman? I know just where to take you. The Hotel District.
Man, why you gotta do this? But she doesn't know any better. She's just like, wow, the buildings here sure are interesting.
That's literally what they all say every time Ryo pulls this.
Well, they are built, like, really weird. They're built to look really fancy, and like, ooh, this is a nice place for couples to go, to stay for only 2 hours at a time.
And mind you, while they're going up and down the street for them to pick a hotel, because Ryo's trying to get that thing in there.
Oh my god, why did you say it that way? That was disgusting.
It's what he's trying to do, Kaylin.
Okay, fine.
The two guys that are tailing them are just hiding behind a sign, again, being super obviously shady. Was this guy a pro or isn't he a pro? I don't know, but he's taking her down the street. Hey, you think we're being too obvious?
We have to start hugging and looking like a couple, or else, we're gonna be too obvious. Oh no, don't do that. You're just gonna make us look even more obvious. It's really bad. They're really bad at this.
And so Ryo finally settles on a hotel for them to go ahead and go into, and he's strolling up all proud, getting ready to do something with that mokkori thing, and then he notices his own face.
There's a poster at this particular hotel, which he's actually gotten Misa very excited about going into. She really actually wants to go and experience whatever it is that Ryo has hyped up, but this poster is there that's like, warning, look out for this weirdo creep man.
This pervert. And it's Ryo with his perverted face on this wanted style poster, and he immediately knows, damn it. Kaori.
And then they run back outside because Ryo doesn't want her to see this poster is up here. And also, there's no way they can go in now because I'm sure the people inside at the front desk have seen this poster.
Well, guess what? The people outside have seen the poster too, because the poster's been put up everywhere now.
Like, literally every 6 inches down the wall of the street, there's another new poster. It's on people's backs. It's everywhere. I'm over here like, man, when did Kaori get a photo of him making that face?
Also, why would you take that photo? You have to figure, Kaori knew to take the initiative at some point of, okay, he's just gonna make that face.
I'm gonna need this for blackmail at some point in the future.
Exactly. That's how you know she's there to protect women, Kaylin.
She needs to blackmail her own partner to protect women. Good on you, Kaori.
And so now Ryo's having to grab Misa's hand and then run down the street into an alley where the poster isn't. And she's like, why are you running? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's exercise. It's fine. It's part of your training. This is how you become traditional. Don't worry about it. And so across town, Saeko pulls up to Kaori, who's still putting up more of these posters, and tells her, hey, someone called in a tip. We found the pervert.
Somebody called the police on this man. Finally, somebody called the police on this serial sexual harasser. This actually, you know what? Somebody probably should do that. And someone finally did it.
And so Saiko's like, get in the car. I actually have more information, so we gotta get down there now. So they get in the car and they're driving, and Saiko's telling her, oh yeah, so I found out that general guy, he's an asshole, and he's trying to do things that would hurt her dad. Misa's in danger, so we need to be looking out for her, not Ryo.
Man, it sure would have been good if they'd had that information just a little bit earlier in the day.
You figure, but now's the time for all this stuff to come to a head.
Okay, great.
To come to light. So lucky for Ryo, he figured out one hotel he could go to, and it's a very traditional looking Japanese inn called Edoya Inn.
It's the store from the Edo period. That's what the name of this inn is called.
And so Ryo's like hyping himself up, like, oh, just give me a few seconds, I'm gonna get some mokkori. And then Misa comes in, and she has not put on her kimono right.
Well, yukata, yeah.
Yukata.
It's all trashy, and the belt is all, the obi is tied all badly, and her boobs are kind of spilling out, which Ryo doesn't have a problem with that so much, but he is like, hey, actually, it could be stand to be worn a little bit higher, and what he means is the yukata, like, hike it up to like your knees.
Yeah,
I need
show
to be
more
able
leg.
to see more leg. And she does it, and he's like, great, okay, so now it's bath time. And this is one of these places that has mixed baths.
Right before he goes into the bath, though, in kind of a little vignette, we see he's on the ground, very happy with himself, and he's got a sign of kanji next to him.
The subtitles say that it says City Hunter, and we're like, well, the kanji, is that really what the kanji means? And I was only really able to pick out 2 of the 4 kanji. My reading is only so good. But I was like, no, I know 2 of those, and it's the ones that are supposed to be hunter, okay? So what it has done is it's chosen 4 kanji that phonetically say City Hunter, okay?
Yes.
So I could recognize Han as in half, okay? Like you would see it in Hanbun, like
half of something.
Half time, yeah, half the Han is half, okay? So it doesn't literally mean hunter, because that says half. And then ta, I was like, is that ta? Like, that looks like the kanji for, like,
sun?
In sun, like tayo, which actually it's tai. It's not ta, it's tai, but okay.
But Japanese punnery usually relies on if there's one extra syllable, you cut it off.
You could, it's contextual.
Yeah,
it's
very much
contextual humor,
so.
which really, so literally, those 2 kanji put together is more like half fat. It's not a real thing. It's not real. These aren't real words.
It's
They're
gibberish together. But if you understand phonetically how it sounds, you can tell that they're trying to spell out City Hunter.
Yes.
And so yeah, now they're in the mixed bath, and Ryo has jumped out into his shorts, which again are monogrammed. He's got his name on them.
He's got a lot of those, I guess. Or he
must
just wears the same ones a lot.
I mean, I imagine he's done laundry since then, or, you know, he got like an 8-pack of them.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, all right, so your next lesson, you gotta wash my back, because that's what a traditional Japanese woman would do. Here you go.
And, I mean, she's about to kind of sort of buy into it, but then then here's the two trench coat guys, and they've just busted through the door, and they got a gun. And they're like, haha, no.
We thought you were a pro. Turns out, no. We have an Uzi, and you are going to give us her.
And Rio actually legitimately feels like, oh shit, I might have fucked up a little bit and just let my head get away with me. Or the other head, one of the two. So he really does have to think on the fly, like, how do I get out of this? Because I'm almost naked and I do not have my gun.
And they know I don't have my gun.
But he figures it out.
So they're like, put your hands up. So what he does is, as he's like, all right, you want me to put my hands up? I'll put my hands up. And as he's doing it, making the motion to put his hands up, he lifts the back of Misa's yukata.
So again, using a woman's body as distraction. And in that distraction, he kind of lifts up the mat that they're standing on and does this weird tuck and roll thing. And it kind of knocks them on their asses.
Footstep starts playing, so it's ass-kicking time.
And he's just gonna kind of leave them there knocked out on the floor.
You know, he knocked him out with bath implements, like the ladle to spill water over yourself in the little wooden bucket that you always see at a bathhouse.
And they're knocked out, and Rio's just like, well, let's just go back to our hotel room. And I'm just like, that's what you're gonna do? They know you're here now. You're not gonna leave?
And it's funny because right now it's kind of like in some video games where they glitch out, and it's like, okay, technically action is over, but the music's still playing. And so you still hear footsteps until Rio opens the door.
And the music immediately cuts because Kaori's face is on the other side of the door.
And she's ready, and she's brought the national shame hammer again.
Hits him with the hammer.
Ryo Saiba, the shame of a nation. And so yeah, Kaori and Sayako are there, and Sayako's like, alright, we got that out of the way. Whew, got here just in the nick of time. Alright, Misa, come with us.
And she's like, well, did you clear up the thing about the guy I don't like? Yeah, we've got that cleared up, and actually the revolution has started. Congratulations. And usually you wouldn't say to somebody, congratulations, the revolution has started, because revolutions are very bad things, but I guess this country desperately needed a revolution. And so she's like, oh great, that is good news. And you might almost think, well, really, the story could just kind of end there. But the guy that we just said we were going to call him like
General Jimmy.
Jimmy or something. Yeah.
General Jimmy, he has fled the country amidst this revolution.
And he's on a plane, and he's like, well, we could still win this, but I gotta go get Misa in order to make this work. And I've got a whole army on this plane, so we're headed to Japan with an army to go get Misa.
And he's got a plane full of dudes that look like they jumped out of Metal Gear Solid.
You were pointing out his, like, logo on the back of
I don't
the
know
wall
if this
of
is
the
the
plane.
flag of Pamela or not, or if this is his own, like, personal militia flag, but it looks suspiciously like the logo for the evil organization Shocker in the original Kamen Rider series.
I just think a lot of evil organizations have flags that kind of look like that. This is just an extremely fascist flag.
It very much is. And so we end on fascism. As the plane takes off, heading towards Japan, we get Jimmy's face in the moonlight, and Supergirl starts playing.
It's like really nice music, and he gets the silhouette, like, really dramatic 80s looking shot of him over the scenery background. These two things kinda don't really go together, but it's a little funny.
Yeah, it's like a weird way to end the episode, because usually it's the hero shot, it's one of our main characters, and this time, no, it's the villain who gets the freeze frame. But yeah, that's the end of the episode.
I can't believe we had that much to talk about, and there's a whole second half coming.
Yeah, thankfully this is only a two-parter. We're not going into 3 parts, thank God.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to need that much time. Next time, it's going to be a lot of action. We're going to see that it's too much for just the two of them to take on for Kaori and Ryo. We're going to have to call in Umibozu.
Heck yeah, we are. That's exciting.
Because we all know at this show, we love us some Umibozu.
And Umibozu always brings bazookas, so, you know.
Kaori's going to get a bazooka.
Kaori's going to get a bazooka.
You get a bazooka. I get a bazooka. Everyone gets a bazooka.
And that's just the way it should be. This is life, and the way I think an ideal life should go is that this should be a human rights issue. Everyone should have a bazooka.
But they should also have background checks for the bazooka.
They should also have background checks for the bazooka. You should also be at least 18 years old to buy the bazooka. And also, if you have a criminal record, maybe they should take away your bazooka.
That might be a good idea. But Umibozu's cool, because he's fictional.
He also doesn't really have a criminal record.
No. Well, I mean, technically,
he's off a lot of records, okay?
He's off a lot of records.
I don't think a lot of people have him on record.
That's probably accurate. But we'll see more about how that record's gonna fill out next week.
So please come back next time when we cover the 18th episode of City Hunter 2, An Aspiring Traditional Japanese Woman, Mokkori Transcends National Borders Part 2.
And if you want to find us outside this podcast, you can always find us both over on Twitter. For now, I'm at JoshKnightFirst.
And I'm at MarzGurl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 68th episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, I'm gonna hit Josh with a bazooka.
Bazooka Joe?
No, Bazooka Josh!